Today, we pause to remember for remarkable lives that touch the world in profoundly different ways. From the high-octane roar of the racetrack to the quiet intimacy of digital screens, from the artful glamour of fashion to the emotive power of performance, these legends left marks that will endure far beyond their time. Antony Price, William Edward Rush, Gregory Jack Biffle, and Tucker Gentle each shaped culture, inspired communities, and defined moments in history with talent, passion, and dedication. Though their voices are now silenced, their legacies continue to resonate, reminding us of the fragility of life, the power of creativity, and the enduring imprint a single soul can leave on the hearts of millions. Today, we honor their memory. The news arrived quietly like a dimming light after a long and brilliant evening. On December 16, 2025, it was confirmed that Antony Price had passed away, closing the chapter on a life that helped define how an era looked, felt, and dreamed. For many, the world felt a little less dramatic, a little less daring in that moment. Antony Price was born on March 5, 1945. Into a world still recovering from war and learning how to imagine again. From an early age, he showed an instinct for beauty and performance, not only in how things were worn, but in how they were seen. Fashion for Price was never just fabric, it was a language, a mood, and a statement of identity. As he grew into his craft, Price emerged as one of the most visionary fashion designers of his generation. He became known for evening wear and sharply tailored suits that felt theatrical yet precise. His designs carry confidence, elegance, and a sense of controlled rebellion. They were not meant to blend in, they were meant to be remembered. By the late 1960s and 1970s, Antony Price was no longer just designing clothes. He was shaping images that would live far beyond the runway. His work blurred the line between fashion and performance, turning musicians into visual icons. One critic once said, "Antony didn't dress stars, he revealed who they already were." His collaborations with artists became legendary. Working with David Bowie, Price helped build personas that felt futuristic and fearless. The sharp lines, bold silhouettes, and dramatic flair became part of Bowie's visual storytelling. It was fashion as character, fashion as myth. He also worked closely with Bryan Ferry and the band Roxy Music, creating a look that defined glamour in the 1970s. The so-called Roxy girls became symbols of style and attitude, photographed and admired around the world. Their look was polished, confident, and unmistakably modern. A former collaborator once reflected, "Antony understood the power of an image. He knew that one photograph could change how people felt about music, art, and themselves. That understanding set him apart. He wasn't following trends, he was building worlds behind the scenes." Price was known as thoughtful and exacting. He cared deeply about detail. From the cut of a jacket to the way fabric moved under stage lights, every decision served a purpose, every piece told part of a story. Fashion historians would later say that his work helped turn musicians into complete visual narratives, not just performers. As the decades passed, Antony Price's influence only grew. Designers coming up in the industry studied his work, drawn to his courage and imagination. Many credited him with giving them permission to think bigger, to treat fashion as art rather than product. "He made us brave," one young designer wrote on social media after his passing. Price's career spanned continents and generations. While trends came and went, his vision remained clear. He believed that clothing could express identity, challenge norms, and celebrate individuality. In an industry often driven by change for its own sake, he stood for intention and meaning. When news of his death spread, tributes poured in from across the creative world. Artists, designers, and fans shared memories and images of his work. One longtime admirer wrote, "Antony Price taught us that style is not about being seen, it's about being understood." The words echoed across platforms, capturing what many felt but struggled to say. Family members asked for privacy, but shared a brief statement honoring his life. Antony lived with curiosity and creativity, they said. He believed in beauty and courage, and in expressing who you are without apology. It was a simple message, but one that reflected his spirit. Beyond the public image, Price was remembered by those close to him as gentle and reflective. Friends described him as someone who listened carefully and spoke thoughtfully. He found inspiration in people, conversations, and quiet moments, not just in spectacle. That balance between calm and drama defined both his work and his life. His influence extended far beyond fabric and thread. Album covers, stage performances, and magazine spreads still carry his signature style. Even today, his designs feel alive, refusing to be locked into a single decade. They remain studied, displayed, and celebrated in galleries and archives around the world. A fashion editor once said, "Antony Price didn't chase the future, he imagined it." That imagination helped shape the visual culture of the late 20th century and continues to resonate today. His work reminds us that creativity can be timeless when it is honest. As the world reflects on his passing, it becomes clear that Antony Price gave more than beautiful clothes. He gave confidence, drama, and identity to a generation of artists and audiences. He showed that fashion could tell stories as powerful as music or film. In remembering Antony Price, we remember an era of bold expression and fearless vision. His name will endure in wardrobes, photographs, and memories, stitched into the cultural fabric he helped create. Though he is gone, his artistry remains, continuing to inspire those who believe that style is, at its heart, a form of storytelling. And so, we say goodbye not just to a designer, but to a creator who understood the soul of an era. Antony Price leaves behind a legacy of elegance and imagination, reminding us that true vision never fades, it simply finds new ways to be seen. The news was confirmed in the early hours, quietly shared and slowly understood. On December 17, 2025, William Edward Rush passed away at the age of 31, leaving behind a silence that felt heavier with every passing hour. For many who had grown up watching him, the loss felt deeply personal. William Edward Rush was born on July 6, 1994, at a time when television was becoming a shared window into everyday life. From an early age, he showed a natural ease in front of the camera. There was something open and sincere about him, a quality that made people feel they were watching a real person, not a performance. He first captured national attention through his role as Josh Stevenson on the BBC drama Waterloo Road. As a young actor, Rush brought honesty to the character, portraying vulnerability, strength, and confusion in a way that resonated with viewers. His performance felt lived in, as if he understood the emotional weight of the stories he was telling. Week after week, audiences watched him grow on screen. His character faced challenges that mirrored real life, and Rush handled those moments with care and restraint. A longtime viewer later wrote online, "He didn't overact. He made you believe." That belief became the foundation of his connection with fans. Working within the world of BBC television gave Rush early exposure, but it was his quiet discipline that earned him respect behind the scenes. Colleagues recalled him as focused and kind, someone who listened more than he spoke. One crew member shared, "William treated every scene like it mattered, even the small ones." As he matured, Rush began exploring different forms of performance. His appearance on The X Factor surprised many, but also revealed another side of his creativity. Stepping onto a reality television stage took courage, and he approached it with the same sincerity that defined his acting. Though the setting was different, his presence remained grounded. He was not chasing attention, but expression. Viewers noticed his calm confidence and emotional openness, qualities that made him stand out in a competitive space. A judge remarked during the show, "There's something very real about you." And that's rare. Rush moved between acting and performance without losing his sense of self. He understood that storytelling could take many forms, whether through scripted drama or live expression. Friends said he often spoke about growth, about learning from each experience rather than defining himself by one role. Despite moments in the spotlight, William Rush remained deeply private. He valued family and close friendships, often retreating from public view to stay grounded. Those closest to him described him as thoughtful and gentle, someone who cared deeply but rarely sought praise. On December 17, 2025, his sudden passing shocked the entertainment world. The cause was not immediately shared, and the lack of answers only deepened the sense of disbelief. At just 31, his life felt unfinished, his potential still unfolding. Tributes began to appear almost instantly. Fans shared clips from his performances, recalling scenes that had stayed with them for years. One message read, "I grew up watching him. It feels like losing someone I knew." That sentiment echoed across social media, where grief mixed with gratitude. Former co-stars also spoke out, remembering his warmth on set. One actor wrote, "William brought calm to every room. He listened, he learned, and he cared." Another shared, "He made acting feel human, not polished or fake." His family released a brief statement, asking for privacy while honoring his memory. William lived with sincerity and quiet strength, they said. He loved his craft and the people around him. The words reflected a life defined not by noise, but by meaning. Looking back, Rush's career was not measured by awards or headlines. It was measured by connection. His performances made people feel seen, especially younger viewers navigating their own challenges. He showed that vulnerability could be powerful, and that honesty could carry a story further than spectacle. Even in moments of fame, he never lost sight of why he began. He once said in an interview, "I just want people to feel something real." That simple goal guided his choices and shaped his legacy. As the days passed, the shock slowly turned into reflection. Clips from Waterloo Road resurfaced, reminding audiences of the young actor who brought depth to everyday stories. His work now feels preserved in time, a reminder of both talent and fragility. Industry figures spoke of what might have been, but also of what already was. A casting director shared William had time on his side, but more importantly, he had heart. That's something you can't teach. His future was open, but his impact was already real. William Edward Rush leaves behind a body of work that continues to speak softly but clearly. His performances remain moments of truth, captured and shared long after the cameras stopped rolling. In a fast-moving world, those moments still ask us to pause and feel. He will be remembered not only as an actor or performer, but as a presence that felt genuine. Someone who showed up with care, who treated storytelling as a responsibility, not a shortcut to fame. His life, though brief, reminds us how deeply a single voice can reach God as we say goodbye. We hold on to the memory of a young man whose talent shone quietly on every screen he touched. William Rush's story now lives on through the characters he brought to life and the people he moved along the way. Though his time was short, his impact endures, carried forward in memory, in tribute, and in the lasting power of honest performance. The confirmation came as the track lights dimmed and the engines fell silent. On December 18, 2025, Gregory Jack Biffle passed away, bringing a quiet pause to a sport built on speed and sound. For many fans, it felt like losing a familiar presence, who had always been there, lap after lap. Gregory Jack Biffle was known to many simply as a Biff. Born with a steady hand and a focused mind, he built his life around racing, not a spectacle, but as discipline. From early on, it was clear that he did not race for noise or attention. He raced because it was who he was. Biffle rose through the ranks of American stock car racing with patience and grit. While others chased quick moments of glory, he built a career brick by brick. Each race was an exercise in control, timing, and endurance. Over time, that approach earned him quiet respect across the garage. His most recognized years came behind the wheel of the No. 16 Ford with Roush Fenway Racing. Wearing those colors, Biffle became a familiar figure on NASCAR's biggest stages. He was not loud in victory or bitter in defeat. He let the results speak for him, competing in the NASCAR Cup Series. Biffle faced some of the toughest drivers of his generation. Week after week, he showed up prepared, focused, and ready to endure whatever the race demanded. His consistency became his signature, and fans came to trust that he would always fight to the finish. A former crew chief once said, Gregory never panicked. No matter what went wrong, he stayed calm and kept pushing. That calm was felt on pit road and on the track. It made him a driver others respected. Even when competition was fierce, Biffle's career spanned more than 2 decades, stretching from Cup Series battles to later appearances in the ARCA Menards Series West. Even as the sport evolved, his mindset stayed the same. Racing was about preparation, patience, and respect for the machine. He adapted without losing himself. To younger drivers, he became a quiet example. He showed that you did not need to be the loudest voice to earn a place in the sport. One rising driver shared online, watching Biffle taught me that hard work lasts longer than hype. It was a lesson learned not through words, but through years of effort off the track. Biffle was known as private and grounded. He valued his time away from racing just as much as his time inside the car. Friends described him as loyal and thoughtful, someone who preferred real conversations over public praise. Racing was his job, but integrity was his identity. As news of his passing spread, tributes came in from every corner of the racing world. Fellow drivers shared photos and memories from long seasons spent together. One wrote, "He never backed down and he never cut corners. That's who Greg was." The message captured the feeling many shared. Fans also spoke up, remembering races watched with family, weekends built around the sound of engines, and the steady presence of the No. 16 car. He was always there. One fan wrote, "You knew he gave it everything." For many, Biffle's career was woven into their own memories of the sport. His family released a brief statement honoring his life and asking for privacy. Gregory lived with determination and heart, they said. Racing was his passion, but his values defined him. Those words reflected a man who carried himself with quiet strength. Biffle's influence went beyond wins and statistics. He represented a kind of racer who believed in earning respect the hard way. He showed that success could be built slowly, through discipline and resilience. In a sport driven by speed, he reminded people of the power of patience. Over the years, fans watched him battle through long races, tough seasons, and changing teams. He did not always stand on the podium, but he never stopped pushing. His career became a symbol of endurance, both physical and mental. It was racing stripped down to its core. A veteran journalist once described him as a racer's racer, someone who understood the grind of the sport and accepted it without complaint. That understanding made him relatable, especially to Those who saw racing not as glamour, but as work. As time passes, Gregory Biffle's legacy continues to live on in the sport he loved. His races are replayed, his name spoken with respect, his approach remembered by those who learned from him. He leaves behind an example of what it means to commit fully, even when the road is long. In garages and grandstands, his absence is felt quietly. There is an empty space where determination once rolled past at full speed, yet his spirit remains. In every driver who chooses persistence over shortcuts, Gregory Jack Biffle will be remembered as a man who never backed down, a racer who showed that heart matters as much as horsepower. His journey reminds us that true impact is not always loud, but it is always lasting. As the checkered flag waves on his story, the racing world pauses in respect. The engines may roar on, but the memory of the Biff stays with us, steady and strong. His legacy continues, carried forward by those who believe that dedication, resilience, and quiet courage can still leave an indelible mark on the track of life. The news was shared softly across screens, arriving in quiet messages and broken sentences. On December 11, 2025, it was confirmed that Tucker Gentle had passed away, and for many, the digital world suddenly felt very still. What was once filled with laughter and familiar voices became a place of reflection and loss. Tucker Gentle was known as a digital creator, but to millions he felt like more than that. Alongside his brothers, he shared everyday moments that felt honest and unfiltered. Their videos were not about perfection, they were about family, humor, and the small truths of life that connect people. From the beginning, Tucker's presence stood out. He had a natural warmth that came through the screen, even in the simplest moments. Whether he was joking with his brothers or sharing a quiet thought, there was sincerity in his voice. Viewers did not just watch him, they felt understood by him. In a fast-moving digital world, his content felt grounded. It reminded people of home, of shared laughter, and of being seen. One fan wrote, "Watching Tucker felt like sitting with family after a long day." That feeling became the heart of his work. Tucker never tried to be larger than life. He was comfortable being real. His humor was gentle, his reactions genuine, and his emotions visible. That honesty built trust, and over time, it formed a community that felt personal rather than distant. Behind the camera, Tucker was deeply connected to his brothers. Their bond was central to everything they shared. Viewers often spoke about how rare it was to see family dynamics portrayed with such openness. It was not scripted, it was lived. As his audience grew, so did the pressure that comes with being constantly visible. Like many creators, Tucker carried the weight of expectations quietly. He continued to show up, to smile, and to give pieces of himself to others. Few could see how heavy that responsibility could be. On December 11, 2025, his sudden passing sent shock through the online community. Messages of disbelief flooded comment sections and social feeds. Fans struggled to process how someone who brought so much light could be gone so soon. The grief felt shared, collective, and deeply human. A family statement released shortly after described Tucker as loving, thoughtful, and deeply connected to those around him. He cared more than people knew, they said, and he loved bringing joy to others. Their words reflected a son and brother whose impact reached far beyond the screen. Friends and fellow creators also spoke out, remembering his kindness. One wrote, "Tucker checked in when cameras were off. That's who he was." Another shared, "He reminded us that being real matters more than being perfect." These quiet tributes painted a fuller picture of his life. His passing also opened conversations about mental health in the digital space. Many viewers reflected on the unseen struggles creators face while trying to stay strong for others. Tucker's story became a reminder that smiles online do not always tell the full story offline. Even in grief, his influence continued to bring people together. Fans shared favorite clips, inside jokes, and moments that once made them laugh. In doing so, they created a living memory, one built from gratitude as much as sorrow. Tucker's videos remain a source of comfort. They still carry his voice, his timing, and his warmth. Watching them now feels different, but no less meaningful. Each moment stands as proof that connection can outlive presence. He never set out to change lives, yet he did. Through humor and honesty, he helped people feel less alone. In comments and messages, many shared how his content helped them through hard days. "He didn't know me," one fan wrote, "but he helped me more than he'll ever know." What made Tucker special was not scale or reach, it was intention. He showed up as himself and invited others to do the same. In a space often driven by trends, he chose authenticity. That choice became his legacy. As time moves forward, his absence will still be felt. There will be moments when viewers expect his voice, his laugh, his familiar presence, yet there will also be moments of gratitude, when people remember how he made them feel. Tucker Gentle will be remembered as a brother first, a creator second, and a human always. His story reminds us that behind every screen is a real life with real emotions and real struggles. His openness helped others feel safe in their own truth. In the end, Tucker's legacy is not measured in views or numbers. It lives in shared laughter and comfort found during difficult times, and in the quiet understanding that connection matters, though his journey ended too soon. The warmth he gave continues to move through the lives he touched. As the digital world keeps scrolling forward, his memory remains a voice that spoke with honesty, a presence that felt like family, and a reminder that even brief lives can leave lasting light. Tucker Gentle may be gone, but the kindness he shared continues, carried forward in memory, in love, and in the stories that still bring people together.